This TikTok Hypebeast streamer and co-owner of a famous LA sneaker store was just arrested and hit with federal charges for his alleged involvement in a $1 million cargo theft operation. Okay, so if he's actually charged here, he could be sent to prison for up to 15 years, and he can be hit with up to $500,000 of fines. Definitely not the ideal situation to be in, but how did he get here? So this indictment, I mean, it kind of just seems like something out of a heist movie. Like, we've got Nike employees apparently involved in the inside, multiple shipments of expensive shoes being diverted, and multiple other resellers named as well, for a grand total of 12 people indicted. So why is this newsworthy besides, I guess, it being, you know, a massive alleged theft ring of Nike sneakers? Well, one of the people named was the co-owner of a famous LA sneaker store called Cool Kicks. And you guys might remember that I actually covered the story a while ago when a different one of the owners, Adil Shams, was arrested and had their warehouse raided for allegedly purchasing stolen Nike products. So yeah, definitely not a great year for them so far. And while the stolen Nike products might lead you to believe that, hey, this is a follow-up story on that, no, this is actually a whole different owner being hit with different charges. So this time, it was actually Barakat Abraham, a 39-year-old who is described as the co-founder and co-owner of Cool Kicks. Birds of a feather. What is that saying? Birds of a feather flock together? I don't know, but apparently birds of a feather bond together and start Nike Hypebeast reseller stores, and then they stream it on TikTok. Awesome. Allegedly. This is all alleged. No one's been found guilty in a court of law yet. My lawyer's in the background going, I'm just saying it's quite the ironic coincidence that you have two stolen Nike scandals this close together coming out of the same company. And as of right now, it seems like Barakat is the only Cool Kicks employee involved in this new bombshell. But he's one of 12 people accused in stealing over $2 million worth of Nike shoes from the company's North American Logistics Center in Memphis, Tennessee. And apparently this investigation has been going on for years, with the alleged operation being said to have spanned from 2021 until 2024. Nothing's happened yet, so and that does make me wonder, did they think they were going to get away with it, or did they know at some point their day was coming? He was probably stressing when the other co-founder got raided a while back. He was like, uh-oh, it's about me, and then it wasn't about him, and he was probably like, phew, but now it's about him. But regardless, around 9 months ago, we covered Cool Kicks when co-owner Adil Shams was arrested during a live stream for allegedly selling stolen Nike products. And at the time, he maintained his innocence and stated that the products were purchased in good faith, and if they were stolen, he and his staff had no idea. Which, I mean, honestly is fair. You can't exactly trace the origin of every item when you're reselling shoes. They are purchasing items off of random people in the store, and they're buying out strangers as collections, so I bet their biggest concern at this point is making sure the items are real or not where they're from. So whatever the actual case may have been with that story, Adil was ultimately released, and he was back to his Whatnot live streams pretty quickly. And he's currently maintaining kind of a low profile on social media compared to before, but he posted on his Instagram back in May, so I think it's safe to assume that he didn't actually face any real consequences that we know of yet. Who knows? There might still be an ongoing case. But what is important that you guys do is you can't confuse the two co-owners, because while it does sound bad put together, like, all jokes aside, there is a chance that Adil and the other Cool Kicks employees had no idea what was going on. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's look at what these sneakerheads did to land themselves in extreme hot water. But real quick, data brokers make billions of dollars selling your information to spammers, scammers, and stalkers. And most services just remove your data after it's already out there, but the problem is you keep on creating new vulnerabilities every time you sign up for anything new, which is why I added Cloak to my data protection arsenal, which is the sponsor of today's video. And a massive game changer is with Cloaked, it allows you to create burner emails and phone numbers, and you can actually text an email using these burners inside of the Cloaked app, which means data brokers can't actually tie these accounts back to your identity. So not only is your identity protected, but the data broker just bought, I guess, worthless information. So finally, you're the one playing them. But then on top of everything, Cloak gives you a $1 million identity theft insurance policy. So hey, if that sounds interesting to you, you can go to cloak.com/Atozy and get a free scan to see if your social security number or any other personal information is currently out there for sale. And if you use my link that you'll find at the top of the description down below, you'll get 30% off of any plan. But without further ado, let's continue the video. So On May 21st, 2026, a federal grand jury returned an indictment charging 12 individuals with conspiracy to commit interstate transportation of stolen property, and one with interstate transportation of stolen property. Stolen Nike property, that is. And like I said earlier, the story of this indictment reads like a story of a heist movie or something like that, and the way they were caught is honestly just even wilder. So apparently, in the beginning of 2021, several employees at Nike's North American Logistics Center in Memphis, Tennessee, helped locate high-value products in the warehouse, and they reroute them using fraudulent shipping labels. And where were they being routed to? To the resellers, of course, because, you know, they could charge like 10x in some cases of what the Nike retail stores were retailing these shoes for. And of course, Abraham is one of them. And it's said that this logistics center had some of the most valuable items Nike carried in it, which, if you know anything about sneaker culture, you know there are certain pairs that can resell for thousands of dollars each. Yeah, apparently those thermals go for like $1,200 in StockX right now.
The new shoes, the hottest shoes of the year. Beautiful shoe. Right now they're very cheap. I think these are gonna be above $1,000 within 12 months. It's just a beautiful shoe. Damn. So remember, when you're adding these shoes, this goes for $1,200 on StockX. Banger.
I feel like sneaker culture for the most part has definitely cooled down a bit. Sure, I mean, certain pairs will still go for a lot of money, but it's nothing like it used to be back in like 2017, 2018, 2019, maybe early pandemic as well. I feel like a lot of people who are waiting up all night to cash in on these like Nike drops just kind of moved on to either farming and scalping tickets, or I guess real estate, or watches. I actually, watches is kind of what the culture has moved into, especially with the Royal Oak pop that we saw a few months ago that was also a disaster. I was actually walking down Karl Johan in Oslo. I think it was like the 15th of May or something like that, and I walked past the Swatch store, and at first I didn't even realize it was the Swatch store, but you just had a whole line of kids, or teenagers, probably like, I don't know, 17 to 21 year olds. So not only teenagers, but young adults and teenagers. And they were camping out. And I was like, why is everyone camping out? And I realized, oh, this is for the AP Royal Oak Swatch drop. I haven't seen a bunch of people camping outside of any store since what, 2016, 2017 Supreme drops. So yeah, no, I actually go back and say, yeah, it seems like this Hypebeast culture just kind of like moved into watches. But yeah, going back to the Nike shoes, at the time, I mean, they could retail for, I don't know, around $200, or you could buy them from a reseller for like $1,000 or something like that. Meaning one shipping box filled with the right sneakers could be worth 5 or even 6 times, or in some cases 10 times on the resale market. So really the scheme itself is pretty simple. So allegedly the Nike employees would steal blank Nike shipping labels and print their own UPS labels on them using an account associated to Abraham and Cool Kicks. Then they just slap them on boxes of expensive shoes and ship them out with everything else.
The Cool Kicks owner, according to the feds, allegedly worked with another guy here in Los Angeles to steal blank shipping labels from a Nike warehouse, a distribution warehouse in Memphis. I'm told by the LAPD detective who handled this case that this warehouse in Memphis had some of the most high-end shoes that Nike can sell. So once they get the blank slips, the blank packing slips from the warehouse, then they come back here. Cool Kicks comes into play, according to investigators, because Cool Kicks has a valid UPS account and can make these shipping labels. So they get the blank shipping labels from Nike, they put the bogus addresses on them, allegedly here from Cool Kicks, and then they send those shipping labels back to the employees who are working with everybody, according to the feds, at Nike. And then those Nike employees allegedly slip the bogus packing slips on these cartons of shoes as they are about to leave and be distributed. So instead of being distributed to the places they should go, they get distributed to the bad actors, according to the feds. And according to the feds, at least one of the bad actors was the Cool Kicks co-owner.
And yeah, I guess that was the scheme. How did you not think you were going to get caught? But regardless, everything was fine until it wasn't, because in 2024, there was a snowstorm that hit Memphis, and all the shipments stopped. And this backup caused these boxes with fraudulent labels to sit in the warehouse for way longer than normal, and allowed a very observant Nike employee to notice that some of these labels didn't look right. So the employee notified someone higher up, and this resulted in authorities actually slipping a tracking device in one of these shipments and followed it until they could found one of their culprits.
According to the detective, in Memphis, there was a really bad snowstorm, and that halted all the shipments and allowed these bogus shipping labels to remain on these items for longer than they normally would, and it caught the attention of a very observant Nike employee who notified their supervisors. They then called an LAPD detective here, who has worked with them on other cases, put a tracker in those shipments, let them go on their way, and then allegedly caught everyone in the act. Now, all 12 of these people facing federal charges.
See, kind of sounds like a movie. But after that, I would only assume that the people who were caught started ratting on their co-conspirators, and in total, 12 people were charged in relation to this. And as usual, Cool Kicks released a quick statement saying that, hey, they had no involvement or knowledge of this scheme going on, and they just continued with business as usual. And in their statement, they say that Abraham denies the charges, and Cool Kicks had no allegations of wrongdoing. And they also mentioned that they apparently terminated his relationship with the company. And I mean, that does make it seem like he worked alone, because if Cool Kids had any knowledge of this or let it happen, they would be risking, losing their entire empire if they were caught. Or is this a move to save face? I don't know. Regardless though, if they were involved and tried to pass it off publicly like they weren't, it would, at the end of the day, make things a whole lot worse for them. As for Abraham though, he's currently facing conspiracy, aiding and abetting, and interstate transportation of stolen property. If convicted, he could face up to 15 years in federal prison, fines of up to $500,000, and as many as 3 years in supervised release. So I mean, hey, it's safe to say that's quite the fall from grace. Like, you're going from part owner of a massive sneaker reseller to facing federal charges. So now I guess Cool Kicks is down another owner, and the other one, Adil, he still keeps his distance from all their other content, minus the live streams, because it seems like he's still live streaming. But it's overall a pretty big switch up from their content from a few years ago that essentially revolved around Adil and Abraham buying sneakers and rubbing elbows with celebrities and influencers. But now the faces on their YouTube and Instagram are managers and store staff instead of the actual owners. But currently it appears that the 12 individuals, including Abraham, will be in front of a district judge on August 12th. So I guess we just kind of have to wait around and see what happens then. But regardless, if you're new here, feel free to subscribe, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.